Yo, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. And today we are taking a look at the Vancouver Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks now have new management in town. They've got a new assistant general manager and general manager, Patrick Alvin. And the Vancouver Canucks, we got a little update on the team moving forward. So we'll be going over that today. So the first big headline is JT Miller. JT Miller's been on the trade block for the Canucks now for the past 2 months, and it sounds like there's a lot of traction, no shockingly enough, for JT Miller. So this is the first report from Frank Saravelli, a handful or more teams that have checked in on JT Miller, and I do think it's certainly heating up there. The early indication is he's open to the idea of moving on and playing elsewhere. There's been no trade request. I think Canucks are open to trading him. And that was, like I said, Frank Saravelli. To follow that up, Frank Saravelli also mentioned the package for JT Miller could be a little bit more than a first round and a highly touted prospect. The Rangers are certainly not the only team that expressed significant interest. Other three teams I've heard interested are the Boston Bruins, the Minnesota Wild, and the Calgary Flames. No real surprise that those three teams are in the mix because they are all looking for depth down the middle, specifically top six center help if they want to make a playoff run. No surprise those teams are there. So that was another report similar. Now we also got something here from Irfan Ghaffar. The St. Louis Blues are another team with interest in the Canucks forward JT Miller. We know the Blues are maybe looking to make a splash at this year's trade deadline. They could do that with a move there for JT Miller. I don't think that's too surprising. We also got some reports here on Tyler Myers. So this is from David Pagnotta. The Canucks may take a look and see what the trade market is for Tyler Myers. Tyler Myers is going to be a little difficult to move, though, for the Canucks. He's a big, lanky defenseman that isn't the best skater. He's got some term on his contract as well for a high salary per year, but I think it's interesting. I think it's good that the Canucks are maybe looking to move on from that if they realize that they're not a playoff team. That was a very Jim Benning contract. I wouldn't even be surprised if he potentially gets bought out in the next year or two. Do I even say that word? But I think that's something that the Canucks' new management will be looking at. And this is the last one from Shatir Shan. Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, and Thatcher Demko are the Canucks' three untouchables. Now, what's interesting with that is there's a couple names there that everybody's been saying the Canucks would never trade that guy. They would never trade this guy that are available. Now, I don't know what to extent, but there are some pretty big, significant names that were not mentioned there. Like I said, Tyler Myers, JT Miller, we already talked about those guys. But what about the captain, Bo Horvat? Bo Horvat could be available. Brock Besser could also be available. His contract ends this summer. Do the Canucks look to move on from Brock Besser with all the injury history he's had? I know he's leading the team in goals. He's done very well this year, but that's something to look at. Vasily Podkolzin's name, not exempt from that list either. Niels Höglander. These are some pretty talented young guys for the Canucks that were not considered untouchables. Now, I don't know to what extent those guys may be expensive on the price tag, but they weren't untouchable. And I think that's the key word, is untouchable. So, the big ones that we haven't mentioned or heard too much about are Bo Horvat and Brock Besser. What is the status with them with the Canucks? And we'll probably find out more with that here over the next couple weeks. So make sure to stay tuned to the channel. If you're not already, make sure you're subscribed to stay up to date on all of this with the Canucks. And that's really it for the Canucks. I think the Canucks have been pretty obvious with their direction. I think they want to retool this. I think they're kind of in a similar spot to the Philadelphia Flyers, where the expectations were to make the playoffs, and they expected more from themselves than what they really are. And they went all in last summer. They brought in Connor Garland, they brought in Oliver Ekman-Larsson, they brought in all these guys, yet they didn't really fix the root of the problem, which was, unfortunately, maybe they're just not as good of a team as they thought they were. Now, again, there's a lot of other things that are wrong with this team. Again, similar to the Flyers in terms of the injury front. but they're down to their 5th goaltender, Spencer Martin, and all this shenanigans with the Canucks right now. So take with that what you will. But I think this is an interesting year for the Canucks. What does Patrick Allvin do with this team? Is this a fixer-upper? Or is this a shred it down to the bone, keep those 3 guys, and everybody else is on the table? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Where do you think some of these guys will end up? Guys like JT Miller, Tyler Myers, let me know what you guys think. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you again next time.